Time to talk some Miami Heat lineups here at the Heat Report by Chat Sports. I am your host, Nic Rohloff. On today's show, we're going to talk about the best 5 lineups that Miami could probably go out there. We'll go through what the starting lineup is likely going to look like, the closing lineup, a potentially tall lineup, a defensive lineup, an offensive lineup. We'll go through everything for the Heat as they look to have a rebounding 24 season after being the 8th seed for a second straight year and a first-round exit. But make sure you are following me over on Twitter at Nic_Rohloff is my handle. What will you get if you follow your boy Rolly? Well, you're going to get daily coverage, news, memes, rumors. I am a pretty good follow, at least I think so. So go give me a follow over there if you want daily Miami Heat news and rumors. We're on the road to 2,000 followers. Can we get there before the season begins late October? That's the goal. All right, the first lineup that we're going to talk about is what I think the starting lineup is going to be. Now, I know some people might not want the starting lineup to be this, and I might even argue that I don't want this to be the starting lineup, but this is what I think Erik Spoelstra will go with. Terry Rozier and Herro are going to be your backcourt. When Pat Riley made that trade for Terry back in January, he wants to see what Terry, Tyler, Jimmy, and Bam can do as the core 4 in this starting lineup. And I believe they are going to go with Nikola Jovic as the 4 next to Bam and Jimmy. He did an excellent job late down the stretch last season, staying healthy, improving, working on his shot 40% from 3. I think he's in for a year 3 leap as he is finally getting accustomed to NBA life. I know a lot of people are going to want to see Kel'el Ware into that starting lineup from day one, but I just don't think the Rook is ready. But that's not even where I think the conversation should be had in terms of who should be starting in the initial 5-man group for the Miami Heat. I know a lot of people are going to make that word on Kel'el Ware, but here's the thing. If you're going to make a change to the starting lineup that I think Erik Spoelstra is going to go with, I think it should be moving one of Herro or Rozier to the bench because both of them are score-first guards who need to work on their playmaking. They're both not really that good of defenders. We know Herro's had his struggles. Rozier isn't the best defender either. Rozier obviously is more athletic. Herro's a little bit more taller, so each have their drawbacks. But we know the Heat were the best team in the Eastern Conference. I know it was back in 21, but Tyler Herro was the 6th man for that year. Not saying that he is a 6th man and that is his only ceiling, but when you have 2 guards like Herro and Rozier next to each other, I don't know if it's in the best interest of the Miami Heat to have them both be starting. So if you were to make a starting lineup change, I think it would be moving one of the 2 guards to the bench to be the 6th man. The question would be, would you go like with a bigger Jaquez at the 2, or would you go with Duncan Robinson at the 2? That's the intriguing question, but I could see the starting lineup changing and not having Rozier and Herro in the backcourt. But if what I projected with Herro, Rozier, Jimmy, Jovic, and Bam is your starting 5 in October for the first game of the season, what would you be rating the starting lineup? Scale it 1 to 10, drop me a number. No rookie scores. Give me a decimal. If I had to give mine 7-1, was that a C-, C? It's kind of how I view it. All right, let's move on to what I think the closing lineup is going to be for the Miami Heat. And this one, it could get a little sketchy, if you will. I have Terry Rozier being the closing guard for Miami. And I think Jaquez is going to be there. I think Jimmy Butler is going to be there. I honestly am going to go with Nikola Jovic here at the 4 as well. Bam and Adebayo at the 5. I think Jovic can be that guy who ends up being the 4 next to Bam long term. And I think in his 3rd year, he's going to be able to take a good enough leap defensively and physically to be on the floor in crunch time for the Miami Heat. That's what I think the closing 5 will be. But I will say this, folks. I think that you are going to see Haywood Highsmith close games more than you think for the Miami Heat. I project it to still be Jovic. Jaquez coming in for Herro due to his defensive possibilities and high IQ. But Highsmith, who's probably your best defender, like if we're going to be honest, outside of Bam and Adebayo at the point of attack, like I think Highsmith is going to close some games. And if Jovic isn't having a good game or if the Heat need more perimeter defense, I could see Highsmith being a closing member for this Miami Heat team. I will say this. As critical as I have been of the Miami Heat and their inability to add to this roster from last year, they do have a lot of depth. They go 11, 12 deep of players that could have an impact on this team. And it will allow Coach Erik Spoelstra to be almost a mastermind, Rubik's Cube type of guy, where he's just trying to put little pieces together here to see what fits, what works, and what's the most dominant lineup. It's hard to project now without seeing them work together in training camp and early on in the season, but there is a lot of options that he can go with, so don't be surprised if Highsmith is one of them. Speaking of Haywood Highsmith, he leads off our defensive lineup, and you look at this five-man crew. How are you scoring on this, if we're going to be honest? Highsmith as your point of attack defender. Jaquez can guard 1 through 4 as well. Jimmy, when he's locked in, is one of the best steal guys in two-way wings in the NBA. You got the best defensive player in the world in Bam Adebayo. And then you insert the rookie, the 7-footer with a 7'4.5" wingspan, Kel'el Ware, to be your rim protector inside. Like, this lineup is absolute clamps. Like, I'm being dead serious. Like, who's scoring on this lineup? Like, we've seen Highsmith defend ones before. He's defended Trae Young in the past. He's defended Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. He can do it all. So can Bam. Jaquez is getting better defensively. We know what Jimmy can bring to the table when he's locked in. And then you got that 7'4.5" wingspan, 7-footer who averages 2 blocks a game, sitting back in the paint, guarding the centers and protecting the rim. Yeah, this lineup is going to be absolutely crazy. And even though I think it could be one of the best defensive lineups in the NBA, I'm not really so sure that the Heat will ever use that lineup, because when you look back at it, who's handling the rock? Like really? Highsmith can't handle the rock. Jaquez, he hasn't proven it, at least to this point. Jimmy could play the 1, but I don't love that, because I like getting him on off-ball action and getting him downhill and then getting him the rock. I don't want Bam to be the point guard because, 1, his handle isn't the tightest, and if he's getting guarded by wings, it could get a little dicey. And obviously, Kel'el Ware ain't playing point guard. So I doubt that lineup will ever see a 3-minute, 4-minute stretch of them playing together. It would be tons of fun, but due to the lack of perimeter shooting, lack of playmaking, I doubt they ever go that way, but it would be quite a lot of fun, that's for sure. All right, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, because if you want more Heat coverage, news, rumors, this is the place for you. I often say we can do it all here. We're live for games. We do news, we do rumors, we also just talk ball like this and look at the roster as a whole. We do it all here at the Heat Report, so hit that sub button. Let's go into a size lineup for the Miami Heat here. Well, it's really just the same defensive lineup, but you're swapping out Haywood Highsmith to put in Nikola Jovic. And I know Heat fans have wanted size in the past, and I tell you what, you can get it all here. You got a 7-footer in Ware, Bam 6'10", Jovic is 6'11", Jaime and Jimmy are both 6'6". You have a massive, massive height lineup here. And if you just look to project if this lineup could ever come to fruition and see them on the court together, I think it actually works offensively, because I do trust Nikola Jovic to run this offense as the point guard. He has a natural point guard background. We've seen him handle the rock out in transition, lead fast breaks. That's when he's at his best. He's a terrific passer as well, and that's actually how Erik Spoelstra used him most of last season. They'd get him as the playmaking hub at the elbow, top of the key, and let him fire passes to players working off-ball movements and cuts, and I think that's where Jovic shined. And I would trust this lineup offensively. I think they could get the job done, and especially with Jaquez being an improved three-point shooter, and same thing with Bam Adebayo. But I just don't know who defends the perimeter in this group. My thing is that you could have Bam guard the wing, Jimmy guard the wing. Jaquez, can he guard the opposing guards, though? I think Jaquez could guard the perimeter and guard wings, but if you're playing a team that has good guard lineups, this lineup is never going to come out to play. For example, if you're playing Cleveland Cavaliers, if you're playing a Milwaukee Bucks, who's going to guard Damian Lillard? Going to trust Jaquez to do that? Who's going to guard Donovan Mitchell? Who's going to guard Jalen Brunson? Who's going to guard Tyrese Maxey? I do think this lineup could be tons of fun. I'd love to see it somehow happen on the court eventually, but just due to the defensive issues they'd have defending quick, explosive guards at the perimeter, I don't think this lineup is something that will ever see the light of day, although it would be very, very fun. What is very, very fun is to represent the Heat off the court, and the best way to do that is with this little nice Heat cap. We've showcased it on the show in the past here, two-tone color, the beige, cream, red cap, Heat logo, MH on the side. It's adjustable, fits to any head size. I love this hat. You should too. And if you're with me, get it right now. Chatsports.com/Heat hat is the link. That link will be in the description and comments of today's show. Get yours today. I'm going to go with the offensive juggernaut lineup to close out today's show. And I could really talk about 10 different lineups the Miami Heat can really throw out there. But if we wanted to score the basketball at the most efficient and high rate, I think this is your lineup. And yes, you are not seeing Tyler Herro on this group. I think Herro is solid, but I think Duncan Robinson potentially fits with Bam and Jimmy better. We've seen Duncan play really well as a starter last season. And the Heat played some decent basketball when Rozier and Robinson were your starting backcourt. Rozier was getting very comfortable at the stretch or the end of the season. He's someone that can break you down in isolation, score at all three levels. Obviously, Jimmy and Bam are going to be here. I think Jaime's second-year leap is going to put him into a lot of lineups and give him 30 minutes a game potentially. I really do. And if you play him at the 4, yeah, you'll be a little undersized, but the floor spacing is going to be terrific because you have 5 guys here that could potentially score at all 3 levels of the court, especially with Duncan continuing to showcase his ability to get inside and finish a little bit more after leveraging some pump fakes and getting the defense to over-rotate and really show to him at the three-point arc. And this is the offensive juggernaut lineup, but there are some out there, which I could be included in this group, that might say this should be the starting lineup. Now, I do think Nikola Jovic should start alongside Bam in that first 5, but it wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world to say Jaquez plays there at the 4, yet you'd be quite undersized with Jimmy and Bam being the other front court mates. You'd have 6'6", 6'6", and 6'10". That's not great. But at least in the way this offense can move and really just do a inside-out type offense could be really, really dangerous. And I wouldn't be shocked if that is the starting lineup, but I do think it's going to be Nikola Jovic and Tyler Herro in that group. I gave you 5 lineups. Maybe you think there's a different lineup that's going to be better, but you know what? Let's have some fun in the comments section. What is the best Miami Heat lineup that they can throw out there? List it. Guard, forward, all forwards, all centers, whatever you think the best lineup could be for Miami, drop it down below in the comments section. Also, give me a follow on Twitter, like I said off the bat. Daily content over there. You get everything you need surrounding the Miami Heat in between videos on my Twitter. So make sure you go give me a follow. I'll see you tomorrow with another video. Go Heat.